feels like the dawn of an incredibly new era altogether. We're completing the trifecta because in the course of 3-4 episodes, we have taken the show video. We have celebrated episode 500, which was a radio comedy, something we'd never done before, never attempted to tackle before. And now Emily is here no longer as a guest, but like co-hosting.
Yeah.
Like Pete and Carl rendered obsolete. Eat your hearts out. See, you're not needed. You're not needed. You're appreciated. But should one of you piss me off immensely, replaceable. Mm-hmm. So a couple weeks ago, hello and welcome to the Movie Men podcast. My name's Brady. That's Emily.
Hey.
A couple of weeks ago, we went to go see Wicked for Good. And it's been a few weeks. And by the time this episode comes out, it will have been another couple of weeks. So really, we're like a month late. But that probably won't be the thing about my review anyways that pisses you off the most. So I'm okay with that.
Interested to hear your thoughts.
But we saw it together. Like we saw Wicked for Good together. Mm-hmm. And we didn't talk at all about how we felt. You noted, I think that you got a little teary-eyed during the movie. Mm-hmm. So that's either oh my God, it's so good and I'm emotional, or I can't believe it's this bad.
Stay tuned.
So we're going to get into it. Let's do initial impressions.
Okay.
And I need to preface my initial impression by acknowledging my uneducatedness in this review. I have not... Let me just adjust something here. I've not seen the play. Mm-hmm. I have not read the book. I am going into this strictly as a person who saw the first movie, went to see the second movie, which I think I'm okay with, and I think is okay because I would like to think that a lot of people fall in that camp. A lot of people have not seen the play. A lot of people have not read the book. Honestly, when I saw the first movie and Brienne was like, oh, this is that Defying Gravity song. And I'm like, I've never heard this song before, right? Like it was completely new to me.
Fresh, yeah.
Very familiar with The Wizard of Oz, mm-hmm. the movie. Mm-hmm. Have not read The Wizard of Oz book. Since viewing this movie in the last couple of weeks, I have consumed some media, though, mostly YouTube videos of people explaining the differences between this and the play, mm-hmm. and the differences also between the play and the book. Yeah. And just reading, like, if you don't know anything about the book, do yourself a favor, go to Google, go to like ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, create me a list of content warnings for the book Wicked. And the list you get is like, I don't know why they didn't adapt all that to screen. I think it would have been fine. Certainly wouldn't have ended them up with a NC-17 rating. But yeah, so I'm going into this very much, and my review will reflect that. My review will be, I would have liked this story better if blank, mm-hmm. or I really liked the story because of this, or what. I'm pretending the play doesn't exist, and I recognize that that's sort of a weird take. I recognize that if in fact this movie is consistent with the play, then they did the right thing in making the film this way, because that's what people wanted. I'm going into this more from the standpoint of, I know the Judy Garland Wizard of Oz really well. I want this to be sort of connected. My brain wants to tie the two together. My brain wants to Make this just be a different angle of that.
And you don't think it is?
No. And there's so many reasons why I don't think it can be.
Okay.
So anyways, all that aside, that's the disclaimer. My initial impression is I had a fun time in the theater. I don't think it's as good as the first one. There's a lot more fan service moments in this one, which are a lot of fun when they happen. A lot of like little winks and nods and nudges, reveals, twists for the audience, and that was fun. I don't think it's as good as the first one. My hot take would be that there's no song in this movie that comes even remotely close to songs like Defying Gravity. Like, not even close. And maybe that's a fault of the musical. Like, maybe you go see the musical and the music just kind of falls off in the second act. I don't know. But yeah, the music's not bad in this, but there's no like, holy shit, that's breathtaking the way some of the music in the first movie is. And ultimately, at some point during this episode, I have the way I would have done this story
Right.
thing, which again, you're going to be super unpopular if you're already a fan of Wicked and the musical and the book, and this is going to be wildly unpopular. If you're a big fan of The Wizard of Oz and walked out of Wicked Part 2 going, wait a second, this might be for you. Anyways, what's sort of your initial takeaway?
So, also have not seen the play.
Right.
I know a lot about the play.
Sure.
I've seen bits and pieces of the play on like YouTube and stuff, but I can't say that I am familiar with the play either. I have mostly read the book, but I never actually did finish the whole book, and it's wildly different.
Right. You got to the incestuous rape part, and you were like,
struggled a little bit reading the book.
Okay.
But I'm familiar with the story. What I think will be interesting for this conversation is that I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of The Wizard of Oz, but I am not like, I'm not a big like, this movie is amazing, and
right, you're not nerdy about it.
I'm not. It's not like the Judy Garland Wizard of Oz. I've seen it like once maybe.
Right.
It's not something that I'm particularly attached to.
Right.
So that kind of plays a part for me too. I will agree that it's not as good as the first one. I think pretty much everybody will agree with that, and I think it's pretty widely accepted that the second act of the play is much weaker than the first act.
Interesting. Okay.
So a lot of people have said that over the years. Like, another thing to note is that Wicked, the stage play, was widely thought to have only lasted 5 years.
Right.
Partly because of that, the first half is so strong and the second half is a bit convoluted. There are a lot of agreed upon problems with Act 2.
Okay. You're here as the expert.
Like, people have been like, yeah, we love Wicked as a whole. Act 2 is kind of bad. So I feel like it's a pretty universally accepted thing that Act 1 is like a 9 out of 10 and Act 2 is like a 5 out
I'm
of 10.
feeling so validated right now.
Yeah. So the source material that they had to work with was already not good.
Okay.
That said, for what they had to work with,
sure,
I think they brought Act 1 from a 9 to a 10.
Okay.
And I think they brought Act 2 from a 5 to like a 7.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one's it's been a bit since I've seen the first one now. But I remember going into it going, "Oh, this seems exciting. Jeff Goldblum's a wizard. Like, this looks great." Brianna and I walked out of it both gobsmacked. We were like, "Oh, like, I thought it was going to be good. I loved this."
And I think because I've also consumed some media since watching Wicked for Good. And a lot of people were saying, well, they could have moved Defying Gravity.
Into
and
the second.
I'm like, they could have. But I think
because it's pretty late in the first film.
It's at the end, essentially. And that is how Act 1 ends.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of Wicked fans would have been pretty
They
disappointed
would have rioted.
if they hadn't finished with Defying Gravity.
Also, that song is a you don't like you could say, well, you know what, Act 2 needs this because Act 2 is weak without it, and that's fine. But you don't start a film with that song.
No,
like that's a jump onto a moving train kind of song.
I agree with their decision to essentially keep the acts the same way that they are in the stage play. I think if they tried to move things around like that, it wouldn't have gone over well. It would have felt like this super amazing high at the very beginning of the film and then just like all downhill from there.
Yeah.
And Act 2 is much, much darker than Act 1.
Yeah.
As well. So there's just, I consider this story, as I understand it, to be told from the perspective of Elphaba, mostly, a little bit of Glinda, I think, too, to be a tragedy. Like this is a really dark, sad story of a misunderstood and misrepresented girl trying to do the right thing, and everything that she touches ends up going badly. I disagree with your take that there are not. I wouldn't put them on the same level as Defying Gravity, but I love the song No Good Deed. I think it is widely underrated.
That was the best one in it.
Well,
but not as good as Defying Gravity.
It's dark. Like it's a I give up kind of song.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we can talk about that a little bit more. But I think it emotionally is at the same level as Defying Gravity. It doesn't move you in the same way, or it doesn't. I feel like people respond better to being positively moved. So Defying Gravity is very much I am going to do the opposite of what you want me to do because you're bad and this is the right thing to do. And so it's empowering, and especially the visuals they added in. Like, I love that scene in the first movie where she's falling and she sees herself in the reflection of the building as a little girl. And there's just so much empowerment in that moment.
Yeah.
I think this whole story in general is a lot about female empowerment, which always goes over well. Maybe I'm biased, but I feel like that usually goes over pretty well. But No Good Deed, it's like she gets to a point where she's like, I have tried and tried and tried to do what I think is the right thing. And I feel like there's one line in it where she kind of says, was I trying to be good? Like, was I trying to do the right thing, or was I just looking for attention? And she kind of sees that as bad. And remember, too, that her whole entire life, her father told her that she wasn't worthy of being loved. She was blamed for everything that happened to her sister. She's been taught that she's of no value.
Right.
So I can see how she'd have this worldview now of like, well, I guess I am who they say I am, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and when it came to, for me, when it came to Defying Gravity, it wasn't even like the first time I heard the song, which is when I was watching the movie. It wasn't even what the song was about. It was just like Defying Gravity out of part one and part two. That is the song that is the most technically impressive. Mm-hmm. Like, I would liken my reaction to hearing that song while watching the movie for the first time to Hugh Jackman backstage witnessing Never Enough with just this look on his face of like...
But yeah, it's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Like not being able to, like hearing something that, because we hear them sing up until this point in the first one, but it was that song where I was like, oh, no.
It's a big
She
song.
can sing.
Yeah.
Like she's next level. Okay. Interesting.
I would agree with that. I think from a technical perspective.
So
Bigger song. So
how do we want to? Because there's why I don't think it works with the first with the Wizard of Oz. With the
Right.
Judy Garland one.
Yeah.
And some of it's not like, you're not going to hear me say like, well, the slippers were the wrong. No. In the Wizard of Oz, the book, the slippers are silver. Mm-hmm. Ruby red slippers was a decision that MGM made when they made the Wizard of Oz, because they're like, hey, we're going to shoot this in beautiful Technicolor film. Mm-hmm. Let's show off the bedazzle.
Yeah.
And use red slippers. So they were. And so in this film, and MGM owns that.
Yeah.
So in this
they
film,
changed the.
Yeah. So in this film, it's not even like the people who were making Wicked made an artistic decision to go back to silver slippers. Mm-hmm. It was let's not get sued by MGM for using red, so we're not allowed to use red slippers. MGM owns that.
I'm not actually sure if the stage play shows the slippers at all.
So they do. Because I started watching some clips on YouTube, and they're silver in the stage play as well.
Yeah.
There is a really impressive moment where, much like in the film, they glow red.
Yeah. Okay.
And they do that in the stage production as
cool.
well at one point.
Okay.
Which is just some of that wonderful stage magic where you're like, how are they?
Someday I'll see the stage play in person. I'd love to.
I'd love to see that. The one that I really want to see in terms of like production magic from everything, and magic, pardon the pun, is like the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child stuff.
Okay.
When they talk about the visual effects, the illusions that they create on stage.
Yeah.
Is like, how am I not looking at CGI right? Like, I don't understand how this is actually practically happening on stage. Okay. So there's a lot of reasons why this doesn't work as a tied into the Judy Garland one. And I get it. It's not supposed to. That's not the point of it. Screw you. This is if I had my way and I could have sat down in the theater, and because I think the first one does. Like when part one ends, I don't know that anything, there's the story that we know is kind of flipped on its head a little bit, in that Glinda's kind of a skank, and Elphaba, we've never seen the Wicked Witch of the West as a good person. And so that's sort of interesting. Speaking of skanks, we have the wizard himself, who in all previous adaptations, he's in Oz the Great and Powerful, he's certainly flawed. And in the Judy Garland Wizard of Oz, he is a sham.
More of a bumbling idiot.
Well, and he is a sham. Like, he was always a con man, but a con man with a big heart, with good intentions. He was still a nice man in the Judy Garland one, because ultimately, at the end of the day, he's giving the words of encouragement to the Scarecrow and the Lion and the Tin Man and Dorothy and whatever. He wants to help. He's just...
He can't.
He just can't. He's just got no power. He sucks in this. And so does Michelle Yeoh's character. I can't remember her name, but
Madame Morrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but when the first one ended, I thought this still works. Like, I can see how
the wizard's still a fraud.
We can get from here to where we're supposed to be.
Okay.
Because all that really has to happen is Elphaba's like gotta go bad, which when the end of the first one happened, you're like, that's certainly the direction it seems like we're headed.
Really?
Well, yeah, because she takes off with the brute. Like, she's going off on her own, and she certainly has enough reasons to be bitter and nasty and resentful. Right? Like, enough seeds have been planted that it doesn't feel like a stretch that she could become, these are the beginning stages. Now, obviously, some other stuff's going to happen that will truly push her over the edge, but she's been wronged and driven away from Glinda and driven away from the wizard and driven away from all of this stuff. And so I can see how the seeds have been planted, and we'll see how these are fertilized and turned into the Wicked Witch. So that has to happen. The wizard's got to have some sort of redemption arc. He's got to have some sort of change of heart, and become the better guy that we know. And Glinda's got to get her grades up because she's at this point she's not helping anyone do anything. And that's kind of it. Like those are the changes that would need to happen.
Okay.
Going into this one, expecting, because I knew that much of this film takes place at the same time as Dorothy Gale being in Oz and going on her adventure. The things that don't work, some of the characters, right? Okay. So the Tin Man. The Tin Man being the guy that was in love with the Wicked Witch of the East.
He wasn't in love with her.
No, not in love with the guy. She was in love with him. Yes. So that guy, that doesn't work. The reason that doesn't work is twofold. Number one is in the Wizard of Oz, when they first meet the Tin Man, they're like, hey, he's all like, he's rusted up, and they like give him the oil can and stuff. And he was like, one day about a year ago, I was picking apples from this tree, and all of a sudden it started to rain and I rusted in place. It clearly hasn't been a year, right? Like all this, okay. Like, so that's a little bit, and that's small. But when you take that, I mean, the Cowardly Lion, there's the least issue with his character, big issue with the Scarecrow, huge issue with the Scarecrow, because obviously what they do with the Scarecrow in this film changes the character of the Scarecrow entirely in The Wizard of Oz, because it's not like he was turned into the Scarecrow and lost his memory or lost focus, like couldn't remember what the goal was or what the purpose is or this film suggests that the Scarecrow, who, full disclaimer, has always been my favorite character of The Wizard of Oz, so I'm a little sensitive, that he's essentially, he's just playing everyone. He's playing Dorothy. He's playing, he's like, oh yeah, let's go. The wizard will help us. Oh yeah. And it's like, so no, you just have this massive ulterior motive, and you're not the lovable Scarecrow that we all think you are. You've kind of got like...
But are you safe?
What do you mean?
Like, just put yourself in the Scarecrow's position. In the context of both perspectives.
Yeah.
We have a guy who, with Elphaba, resisted the wizard and Madame Morrible. And they straight up tried to kill him.
Right.
Siding against the wizard is a bad idea.
So, but then why go see the wizard?
It's part of the facade. Could we not say the same of Glinda? Like,
yeah, why does Glinda send her to go?
Doesn't she have an ulterior motive according to what you just described? Of like,
I mean, that one just doesn't make sense. Why would Glinda send this girl unless Glinda's doesn't care what happens to this girl? Why would she send this girl off to go see the wizard who she knows
we have to remember
what
what kind of society we're living in here. So, from the perspective of Wicked, this is a very, like, I don't know how deep we want to get into this kind of conversation.
Oh,
but
super.
This is a super political story.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We are living in a society that is being overseen by essentially a dictator.
Yep.
Who's really just a puppet. It's Madame Morrible who's pulling the strings.
Yeah.
But these are the people in power.
Yep.
And they are trying to create essentially a conformist society where anybody that doesn't fit their mold of normal doesn't belong.
Right.
So we make, it's like an allegory of like, hey, I wouldn't put it past, I don't actually know when the story was written, but art tends to reflect real life.
Right. Like when the book was written,
maybe,
or when
the book, or when the story, the stage play, like I know they were all written at different times, but
the late 90s, I think the Wicked book came out.
Okay. So like, I feel like you could apply this to any number of like historical real world things like Hitler and the Nazis, or, anything where a person in a position of power says, these are the people that belong and these are the people that don't belong.
Right.
So our rampage against the animals is weird, but kind of is a reflection of that. So you've got Glinda, who knows the truth. You've got Fiyero, the scarecrow, also knows the truth, but they are powerless. We've got Madame Morrible, who is probably equally, if not maybe a little bit less powerful than Elphaba. Like the people who actually, like Elphaba has power, but she doesn't really have power.
Right.
She's got magical abilities, but she's not in a position of power in this political climate. So you've got a scarecrow, Fiyero's character, standing up to the wizard and Madame Morrible and basically getting killed for it. The only reason he doesn't die is because Elphaba casts a spell and saves him.
Right.
But throughout that, he somehow, let's just assume, like he somehow gets swept up in the whole Dorothy thing. And he's like, all right, I'll play along. Maybe this Dorothy girl can expose the wizard, and I'll just go along with it and hope that maybe that will work, because I've already tried the other thing and that didn't go so well.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a stretch to me.
It might be. And a lot of people have debated this, I think, too. But Glinda as well, sending Dorothy.
So why would that?
A lot of people say she was mad at Elphaba. Like, it's about the slippers.
Right.
Right? I don't know if you remember in the movie, Glinda says to Madame Morrible right after her wedding gets crashed, that, hey, just send word that Nessa Rose is in trouble, right, and Elphaba will come.
Right.
I think she said that out of a place of hurt because she felt like Elphaba had stolen her man.
I mean, so that's something else that doesn't line up entirely either. Like with the whole slipper scene, is that the timeline's a little off, because in The Wizard of Oz, while Dorothy's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, the witch is there to see Glinda transfer the shoes from the body under the house to Dorothy's feet. Like
but whose
Dorothy
perspective
and,
is The Wizard of Oz being told from?
Dorothy's.
And what's Dorothy been told?
That the witch is evil.
Yeah. So we just, like, I love this conversation,
but they still meet
because
there.
They do meet there. But I love this conversation because the way, this is why even the title of this story, Wicked, is like a little bit like, is good and evil real? Or is it just about the perspective that you're standing from?
I mean, the wizard seems pretty evil in this. Like, I don't know, like, what's the perspective?
Evil, selfish. I would call Madame Morrible worse than him.
Sure,
but
yeah,
but yes.
So I think, like, I mean, I think in Wicked, it's not that like, oh, none of them turned out to be wicked. It was just like, oh, the person you thought was the wicked one isn't actually.
But the Ozians think that the wizard is the good guy.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right? And Dorothy thinks the wizard is the good guy until she finds out that he's just a fraud.
He's a sham.
So Dorothy lands in Oz and gets told immediately, great job, you killed the Wicked Witch of the East.
Right.
And then the Wicked Witch of the West shows up and is like, give me my shoes back. Think about Elphaba's motivations here. Those shoes are the only thing left of her sister.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%.
Like I'm pretty sure that's the extent of the motivation.
Yeah.
Also, these are magical slippers. And we've seen that magical things in Oz are dangerous.
Yeah.
So what happens if, like, I've thought about this. I wonder, did Glinda give the shoes to Dorothy because she was pissed at Elphaba for taking her man and wanted to just get back at her? Or did Glinda see a very serious situation in which Elphaba could get seriously hurt and sent the slippers away with some random girl so that the slippers would be safe and not known about?
Right.
And sent that over to the wizard so that, we don't create any more problems in Oz with magical things.
To be honest, I don't know if the Glinda of Wicked is clever enough for all that. Like, she not only is she not really magically abled, she's not, like, she's very, the character, or at least, and again, I don't know if this is just the character the way Ariana Grande's portrayed her, or if this is what the character's like in the musical as well. She's kind of largely useless. Like, she's very, I don't know if ditzy's entirely the right word.
She's shallow and selfish.
Yeah.
Especially
and
in
just
Act 1.
kind of like not super crafty and smart and just kind of, and has never had to been, because her looks and popularity and everything else has always been something she could ride to success. The biggest thing for me, and this sort of ties into my rewrite, is without a doubt in The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West is wicked. Is without a doubt. That is not someone who is just meant, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too. Right? Like that is someone who, and is certainly not an animal. I'm going to kill you and your dog. That is not a misunderstood animal activist. That is an evil witch. And so what I would have loved, because between part 1 and part 2, we've got like a 2-year gap. It's been 2 years. A lot can happen in 2 years. I think it would have been, at least for me, would have been a more, I agree it's a tragedy, and I want it to be. It should stay that way. Because The Wizard of Oz, the way it exists, is not. It's just a girl that goes on an adventure, and there's a bad guy, and the bad guy is vanquished, and our hero wins at the end of the day. So I like that this is a tragedy. I would have much preferred if the tragedy, because I think there'd be more layers to it, it would be more heartbreaking and still have an impactful message, is I would not touch Wicked 1. Wicked Part 1, leave it exactly the way it is. Have Wicked 2 start by showing us that following the events of Wicked 1, and maybe they touch on the events the last 2 years, those gap years, with flashbacks throughout the film or something, I don't know. But that over the course of the last 2 years, the Elphaba that we have is far more consistent with, like, she has lost that all of the crap in the world, that the politics and the dirty leaders and the whatever, all the negativity of the world has taken this wonderful, beautiful, caring, big-hearted person and corrupted her. and turned her sour and bitter and nasty, which is not an unprecedented story. Like there's many examples of stories that follow that. But yeah, that the Elphaba that we have at the start of this is far more consistent with, because I think a lot of people who, again, don't know the musical and don't know the book, finish watching part one and go, I can't wait to see how she becomes the Wicked Witch of the West, right? That will be an exciting and interesting and possibly heartbreaking transformation to see. Well, we don't get that transformation. And I think adding in the layer of how good people can be turned bitter and nasty if pummeled with enough crap. Mm-hmm. But then still give her the redemptive arc at the end, which is the tragedy, right? So you have the one layer of tragedy in the fact that a good person who was trying to expose the crooked wizard got turned nasty and evil herself. Still have that scene between Elphaba and Glinda at the end, right? Still have that. Have Glinda break through, right? Which would be amazing, because that's the one thing that we never got to see, something that we didn't see in The Wizard of Oz, is that in The Wizard of Oz, when we think we're finally killing the evil witch, we don't realize that evil witch has just had a change of heart, has is pardon the pun, melting and becoming,
But what are the motivations of the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz?
Well, twofold. The motivations within the story is getting those shoes back. But her motivation for being wicked is just, within The Wizard of Oz, is just generic wickedness, right? It's just, I'm evil. But again, this which still works with my proposed thing, because it's like, well, here's the reason why she's wicked, as opposed to the story being, she was never wicked, even though she's clearly wicked when you watch The Wizard of Oz. No. She was never wicked.
But again, like it's a real thing to have an unreliable narrator.
Oh, 100%.
So I would venture to say, and it's difficult it's maybe especially difficult for someone like you who loves the Wizard of Oz film so much, that you've taken the Wizard of Oz and been like, well, this is the real story. The Wizard of Oz is the true, real story.
Well,
and I'm pretty sure
it is. Like, it's within that world, it's written by the like.
I just mean, like, if we're talking about the ambiguous truth,
right?
You're like, well, Wicked should conform to the true story, but what Wicked shows us is that wasn't the true story. That was the lie.
Right.
So we got Dorothy landing in Oz, immediately being told, here comes the Wicked Witch. Does that not color someone's perspective of everything that follows? Doesn't she land in Oz? Like, I can't remember exactly how the film goes, but all of the Munchkins,
she arrives
dance
in a
around and
puff
sing
of red smoke,
and are so excited that the Wicked Witch of the East is dead. And Dorothy's immediately like, there are witches here. There are bad guys. There are good guys. And I just want to go home.
Yeah.
So I can't necessarily argue with like the actual words that the Wicked Witch of the West said in The Wizard of Oz. Like, I'll kill you.
Right. I've got, yeah.
I feel like you could defend that any number of ways.
Sure.
Don't we all say things that we don't mean? Like it's you could say, this is what I mean. Like, it's all about perspective. You don't say I'm going to kill you. But like, Elphaba's mad. She just wants the damn slippers back.
Yeah.
And beyond that, there's no motivation. She doesn't care about Dorothy, which is shown in the film Wicked for Good. Like, she's just like, I don't care about you, girl. Just give me the shoes. Give me the
slippers. Yeah. I don't even know who you are.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think she's just kind of, that's why that No Good Deed song hits so hard because she kind of says, all right, I give up. I guess I'm not going to try doing good anymore. Like, I kind of want to look up the lyrics of it, because this is the thing with musicals, is that if you're not watching over and over, if you're not listening to the songs over and over, if you don't know all the lyrics, you miss important things and themes, I think. So I think that song is kind of her turning point, where she's just like fuck it. Like, she gets pushed and pushed, like you're saying, but she doesn't necessarily get pushed into being evil. She just gets pushed into not caring anymore. And is like, you know what? Fiero's dead. My sister's dead. And it's all my fault. Like, she blames herself. Like, in that song, she kind of says, no good deed goes unpunished. And she mentions Nessa Rose and Dr. Dillamond and Fiero. She blames herself for all of those things. So she's saying, you know what? Every time I try to help, I actually make things worse. So maybe I really am wicked.
I mean, I think within the story that they chose to tell, all of the elements make sense.
I mean, they
100%.
followed the source material.
They follow the source material, and it all makes sense. Like, if you ignore the Wizard of Oz, or do the theory that you're suggesting, which is the false narration of the Wizard of Oz, then it makes sense 100%. Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying I would have been more glued to the edge of my seat and walked out going, wow, what a movie. If it had been more, if we had got to see Elphaba truly be wicked and nasty, and if the story of Wicked was how even the cleanest of shirts, if there's enough mud thrown at it, there's going to be stains, and maybe stained to the point where all of a sudden the shirt feels like it's no longer wearable until someone like Glinda shows Elphaba that, like, I've never given up on you. Yeah. I've never, right? And then that's where that breakthrough happens. I'm completely open to the idea of, like that because we took the Wizard of Oz through the eyes of Dorothy, we were led astray by the fact that Dorothy's 12?
Little kid.
Right?
She's just believing everything
and she's just
told.
Believing what she's told. I would just say then, though, that like that's a takeaway that someone clever and thinking outside of the box comes up with, and then people like you and me see on YouTube and go, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes right. Whereas if that's what it is, then I would just want that to be more apparent in the film, whether it's the film ends and some text comes up on the screen that is, often when we are told things or blah, 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 right? Like nothing that's like, okay, so this is why, but enough that I can piece it together myself as I'm walking out of the theater and throwing my empty popcorn bag in the garbage and whatever. I go, oh, as opposed to a week later on YouTube going, oh, that's a good theory.
Well, I think that's why I love this story so much, though, because it's compelling because it's not black and white. It's the question of what's good and what's evil. The answer is just, it's complicated.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
So like, it might feel better as a viewer to walk out with a stronger sense of, bad being overcome, or even, the real bad of the wizard and Madame Morrible being overcome, and then the tragic, sad evil of the witch also being overcome, but in a redemptive way.
Yeah.
That all feels good. It's feely good content, where the reality is that it's a little bit darker than that. And even the wizard's song, what's it called? Wonderful or something.
Yeah.
Where he's like, the truth is just whatever everybody agrees on. And I think that's the point that this story keeps trying to make, is whatever story you think is true, it is whichever one is the strongest.
Sure.
So, even Elphaba writing, the wizard lies in the sky, and Madame Morrible changing it. Oz dies. They're painting a pic. This is propaganda.
Yeah, 100%.
This is a smear campaign. This is two people that are very much evil.
Yep.
Trying to create a scapegoat and paint somebody else as evil so that they can be the good guys, And it's tragic because Elphaba's really the hero of this story. It's not Dorothy. It's not Glinda. It's not the wizard.
No, I mean, Dorothy, and that's the weird thing, is that Dorothy, it takes Dorothy from being the beloved hero of the Wizard of Oz and turns her into sort of a naive and manipulated pawn.
She is.
And in this story, she is. Yeah, 100%.
And I think, to speak to your point of, it doesn't work when you try to fit it into the story of the Wizard of Oz.
And it's not, ultimately,
but
it's
I
not
would say
supposed to.
The Wizard of Oz, it goes the other way around better. You watch Wicked and you go, oh, the whole time, that story that I know about Dorothy and the dog and the Tin Man, it was all a lie.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure.
Or it wasn't all a lie, but elements of it were kind of true. We come away from that still learning that the wizard is a fraud, and we expose him. But we think we've killed the witch. We didn't actually kill the witch.
Yeah.
We used the propaganda that was being spread about the witch. The witch used that, right? Throw this bucket of water on me and then be the hero.
Yeah.
And it's tragic because Elphaba doesn't get the credit that she deserves for, she knew the whole time what the wizard was. She's trying to advocate for the people who can't advocate for themselves. They literally have no voice. The animals. We have a protagonist who is just being totally misunderstood and painted in the opposite, light that she really is.
Question for you. A little bit of a bridge too far that Elphaba turns out to be the fruit of the wizard's loins.
Why do you think that's too far?
It just felt like... It didn't feel like it added anything other than a moment for the audience, which I don't know at that point is neat. It's just kind of like a, wait, but that's not all. But it doesn't actually add anything to the message that the story's ultimately trying to tell you. If anything, it sort of tries to create a little bit of not a redemptive arc for the wizard where he's like, oh God, what have I done? Or whatever, showing that he's not entirely heartless. He's only heartless when he doesn't think it's his own what's that even? To me, it was just kind of watching it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then also there was a big part of me that was like, oh, come on. Really?
So, okay.
It's clever because of how they, the seeds they lay that, with the bottles. It's clever how it's all done.
What do you mean Like,
Well, just that like the bottle that, because in the first one, you know, the salesman shows up at Elphaba's mother's door and he's got this bottle or whatever. And then in the second one, we see Elphaba, like the bottle makes a return and almost becomes like a reoccurring MacGuffin of this film. So that's all clever when it kind of is brought into focus for you. It doesn't feel unearned. It does feel like they lay all the proper footwork and it's earned. But it just, I don't know, felt unnecessary to me.
well, but do you remember the explanation that they gave of why Elphaba has powers?
I know why she has the green skin. I don't.
Why does she have the green skin?
Because he put this green elixir in the drink of when he basically date rapes Elphaba's mother. It's green.
It looked like she was having a good time too.
Yeah, but he roofies her with green stuff.
Yeah. But the reason she has powers is because she is a child of two worlds.
That's right.
So when you remember that small, this is the crappy part I think about maybe the movie and the stage play, although I can't speak to the stage play as much. But I think the book goes into a little bit more detail here, because what does that mean? If you take that fact of the wizard is actually her father.
Yeah.
It's because of the wizard that she exists.
Right.
That she has powers. And that she's green.
Yes.
So he has essentially created this problem.
Yeah.
And he says something about, I've never had a real family. He's talking about being a family with Glinda and Elphaba, like being a team or whatever in that one song too. I think there is a little part of him that's like, I kind of wish I had like a family. And when he comes to this realization of, wait, she's my kid?
Right.
Then he looks back on all of these decisions he's made, going along with Madame Morrible and painting his own daughter, as it turns out, as this horrible villain, when he's the reason that she's there at all. It's kind of like, wow, I'm a really shitty person, aren't I?
Are we supposed to feel bad for him in that moment? Like it's sort of
maybe,
just like
if you choose to feel bad for him, you could.
Yeah.
Right? Like, again, all about perspective. Which perspective do you want to take? Do you want to feel bad for him? Do you want to just laugh in his face because he's actually even worse than you thought he was at this point now? Like,
right. Or that he's got his just desserts.
He's got absolutely no spine. And because of that, he's now lost the only family he ever could have had.
Yeah. I would love nothing more within the confines of this conversation than for them to, same studio, same actors, same everything, to immediately go into pre-production on this universe's, like, it. So
the story of the wizard.
Give us the wizard. No. Just give us
Oz the Great and Powerful again.
The Wizard of Oz. No.
Oh, okay.
Give us the Wizard of Oz.
Sure.
But give us the Wizard of Oz with the understanding that the version we know and love is a lie.
Yep. Sure.
So that can all come into like clear focus for us.
Yeah, maybe they will.
I think that would be fantastic, because it would be really interesting to see Elphaba seem real nasty, but then us realize that's and they could do it cleverly. Like whenever we're with Dorothy, it becomes clear that what we're seeing is through Dorothy's eyes. And then Dorothy goes off down the road or whatever, and then it's clear that things are being misheard or misinterpreted or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know how I felt about the whole, like, speaking of the Yellow Brick Road.
Political statement again.
Well, political statement, but also when you watch The Wizard of Oz, the Yellow Brick Road is a character in and of itself, right? It is this. It's never explained to you that this is a thing that's been there for a long time or whatever, but it just kind of, that's how it comes across, is that it is this almost older than time itself. It's just this.
That's what Dorothy thinks.
It's this thing, but yeah. So it was a little weird to me when it was like, oh yeah, it was, you mean that road we just finished last week?
But what better way to promote the newest propaganda piece of
100%.
construction that leads back to Oz and back 100%. To the wizard than to send a cute little girl and her dog with bright silver or red slippers to kill the witch.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
We're painting a picture and Glinda's going along with it because in my opinion, and I like, would you argue with the statement that Glinda and Elphaba are truly friends?
Do I think they're truly friends? I mean, I think they certainly are by the end of part 1. And I think they are by the end of part 2. But I think there's a big, like, for the majority, like, I don't know that friendship is even really properly reinstated until the conversation in her castle.
Okay.
Which, by the way, the whole time that conversation and song, by the way, is happening.
Yeah.
There's no way Dorothy can't hear this going, what the hell? Like, what? Like,
well, she's locked in a basement or
isn't
something.
Isn't that Glinda? No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She'll be like, what? Isn't that the woman that sent me to, like, what the hell is going on here?
Let's just assume that she never found out about that, right?
Because
that was made pretty clear that, Elphaba's saying to her, she can't know that you've been here. No one can know that you're here. And it's Elphaba that pushes Glinda to stay put. Like, you be the good one so that the people have someone to look up to. They have to have a bad guy and a good guy. And I'll be the bad guy so that you can be the good guy. You don't have to stand up against the wizard, because if you do that, that'll go badly. Look what happened to me. Look what happened to Fiyero.
This is the easiest, most sensible.
Let's just make everyone think one thing. And you can be part of that.
Me and the Scarecrow are going to go wander the desert.
And I think that song too, For Good, is really palpable in that it's kind of saying, Glinda's saying, I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't known you. Because we remember selfish, shallow Glinda at the beginning of Act 1.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Glinda started out as the bad one and turned good. And in Ozian's eyes, Elphaba started as the bad one, or like they always, I don't know, everyone was always afraid of her because she had green skin. Like, everyone was always biased and
and I mean treated
her like shit.
Just like a racism
and
story in that
racism
as well.
and all of that plays plays really hard in this movie. Well,
the other word
like
I can't
illegal
think of.
Aliens, you could almost say. Like, the animals kind of
discrimination.
play So anybody who is other is targeted and scapegoated and blamed because I think there's a drought situation as well, and they're blaming the animals for that somehow. I don't know if they really put that in the movie, but I know it's a thing in the play,
Right.
and a thing in the books. So we got to blame somebody for the problems that we have. Let's blame those people.
I sort of wonder if some of my distaste for part 2 is like working under the theory that part 2 is the revelation that so much of the story you know and love is a lie. Mm-hmm. I think it can be jarring, understandably jarring, if you spend 2.5 hours or however long it was repeatedly getting hit over the head with, and this other element that you know is that you love is not true. Mm-hmm. And this part, well, that's a lie. And this thing that is actually really wonderful is the worst thing ever because of this, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that can be really, again, assuming that theory, just for argument's sake, that can be really, obviously, really unsettling, which then is weird. It's weird when, like, there's nothing wrong with having an unsettling film. There's nothing wrong with having a film that makes you think and makes you feel uncomfortable and grabs you with both shoulders and gives you a bit of a shake. I think it feels a little odd when that's wrapped up in the blanket of Wizard of Oz. Like, I think that's sort of a weird, like, you know, this is a baby bottle pop, but it's ghost pepper flavored. It feels like a weird wrapper. I mean,
this has always been a fanfic of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? What if
not
the Wicked
officially
Witch wasn't actually wicked?
Yeah.
What if we write a story where the wizard is still a fraud, but the Wicked Witch isn't actually as evil as Oz thinks? Like, like the way you kind of describe that, it made me think, what would all of these Ozians feel if they were also told the whole story? Wouldn't that also be jarring for them?
All the Munchkins?
The Munchkins, the Oz, anybody
that are all
Oz.
about 4 feet taller than I would have liked them to be.
Yeah. But like,
oh, that drove me nuts.
We got the whole perspective.
Yeah.
And they got only one.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I guess I'm just left wondering is, you know, is that when it's something that unsettling and upsetting and pulling the rug out from under you, when that's wrapped up in such a beloved property, is that is it enjoyable? And is it an enjoyable night out at the movies? And like, I can understand why it would be really successful and work as a Broadway show. Mm-hmm. Because to hell with it, it's Broadway, right? Like, you're like, it doesn't matter if it's the most, like, you go in and you find out Winnie the Pooh's a murderer. And you saw a Broadway show, right? Like, you're on Broadway.
It feels different to you because now they're both in movie form.
Yeah, I don't think that you get away with as much in a movie as you do with Broadway, because going to the movies is a great experience, but it's not a unique elite experience. Going to a live performance on Broadway is. And so no matter what you see or no matter what the story is, there's always a little bit of that, but wow, it's Broadway, right?
Yeah.
Which you don't get at a movie theater. And so, you know, we go to Broadway to see Broadway. Quite often we go to a movie theater, especially if it's, and again, this isn't a continuation of a franchise by any means, but it's sort of that adjacent. Like, it kind of reeks of the next Star Wars film or something. Like, it's the next chapter of the Wizard of Oz, right? It has that feeling. And so then I think we go looking to be immersed and sucked in and lose ourselves to the story. And so I think a lot more damage can be done, or a lot more, I don't know if I liked that, can be done at the movies than it can be on stage.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm wondering if that's sort of, I don't think that's what I was experiencing prior to you sharing that theory. But now that I've heard that theory, I'm like, well, is that what I'm feeling now? Is that like all of that was, and again, yeah, fan fiction, right? Not canon. It's not canon to the Wizard of Oz.
I don't think it was ever
It was never supposed to be.
Like, it was somebody's like interpretation of like, what if
Right.
What if there's more to the story, you know? Like, literally, the book is called Wicked, The Untold Story of the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
Untold. Like...
Hey, Google, how many Wizard of Oz books are there? I think I have it turned down.
Google's...
I looked it up the other day, and it's something that there's like 19 or something. It's wild.
Yeah, and I don't think they're all, like... I don't think they all make sense with each other. I'm not sure.
From what, because I watched a YouTube video that was like the entire story of Oz in 20 minutes
There's so
or
much
something.
lore, yeah.
And it's all connected in the sense that like Dorothy is the central character of many of them, and returns to Oz several times. But from what I understand, there's a lot of like a lot of the books start with, okay, Dorothy is ending up back in Oz, just go with it. And then the story unfolds, right? And so there's a lot of like,
yeah,
well, you know, which I think there's a lot of the author kind of saying like, you wanted another one. What do you like?
Yeah.
You know, there was no sensible way for me to get Dorothy back into Oz. So she's going to get sucked up by the vacuum and now she's in Oz. Just deal with it. Enjoy the book.
I really think we're supposed to view this story as separate
from 100%.
the Wizard
It's
of Oz.
fan fiction.
And
it's an Elseworlds.
The events of the Wizard of Oz kind of overlap it.
Yeah.
But ultimately...
It's a what if.
You know.
What if this is the way it went? Kind of thing. As opposed to being like, or what if this is actually how it went. It's a what if this is the way it went.
Well, again, like, what is truth?
Yeah.
It's just whatever everybody agree. We you know, even the wizard's own words in his one song, like, is this a evil thief billionaire or a philanthropist?
Right.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Depends on which history book you're reading. Depends who wrote that history book.
Yeah.
So who wrote the story of the Wizard of Oz? I don't know. Dorothy, I guess. Like, I'm not talking about actual author.
Book,
I just mean like, that's the
whose
perspective
eyes is
of
it
Dorothy.
through?
This is the perspective of Elphaba and Glinda.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think it's a story about friendship and, you know, realizing that good and evil aren't as simple as you might think they are.
Right.
And, you know, I wonder too, like, what the hell were Madame Morrible and the wizard thinking when they tried to get Elphaba to join them? And I think it was just straight up arrogance. Like, it's hard to be evil without being arrogant.
It could be arrogance. It could also be, I think it's less arrogance and more fear.
Well, they were let's get her, like, this chick really cares about the animals. Let's trick her into herding a bunch of monkeys and getting them to grow wings, and then let's get her on our side. Did they think that wouldn't piss her off? Or
no, I think that was part of it, but I think they were ignorant. I think it's more ignorance than arrogance. I think they're ignorant in not counting out all the steps and realizing how much they're going to piss her off and how this is actually going to go. But I think they, I think they recognized
she was a threat.
The threat that she was. Mm-hmm. And so it was either, well, we're not easily going to remove her. Mm-hmm. So let's try to get her on our side because we would much rather that, even though we don't want her, we don't feel like we need her.
Yeah.
The alternative could be detrimental.
Yeah.
And so it's better that she's here than opposing us.
I think they underestimated her resolve to helping the animals, and they thought that her desire to be accepted and loved for who she was, not loved, but they thought that her desire for belonging would overpower her sense of justice for the animals. And so they thought she would make the selfish decision and join them.
Yeah.
And I think they just the monkey thing, the spell tricking her into that was just a really dumb oversight on their part, I think. And they just did not consider how that is just adding fuel to her fire. And I also wonder if Glinda and her hadn't become friends before that moment, would Elphaba have been weak enough to have given in to that offer of, hey, because she sang that whole song, like the wizard and I in the first movie. She wanted to meet the wizard and join the wizard, and she thought that was where she would finally belong and have have people actually like her. And, her whole life she's been hated. But then Glinda genuinely was friends with her.
I don't even know if it's weak enough to make that decision. I think a lot more people than
self-conscious.
Yeah, but a lot more people than would like to admit, given the options between difficult life as animal activist, easy life with fortune and fame.
Well, that's what Glinda chose.
Walk through this door or walk through that door. More than 50% of the population, not even more than 50% of the population, more than 50% of the people who right now would self-identify as an animal activist, if the option is presented to you, stay right where you are, or give this up, walk through that door, and instantly be famous and wealthy and untouchable and all-powerful.
Yeah.
More than 50% of living animal activists today are walking through that door. Mm-hmm. Because it would it's self-preservation.
Well, and that was the decision that Glinda made at the end of the first film.
Yeah.
She didn't join Elphaba.
No. But
she was too afraid.
But who would? I mean, we'd all like to say that we would, but also in that moment, and that's that's sort of a whole other layer to this of it's easy through the lens of this film. Ooh, let's peel back layers here.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what's true and what's not true and how we just kind of we see things differently, but depending on the lens that we're viewing it with. Mm-hmm. In the context of this story, Glinda feels slithery and useless and weak and whatever. Mm-hmm. You remove the story from not the story, but you remove the lens that you're supposed to view Glinda through, and most of Glinda's actions in this film seem human. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of them seem like the choices I'd make. 100%.
Yeah.
right? And so is she, because there's a lot of times where you're supposed to almost be like, she's not like a direct villain, but is she kind of like an auxiliary antagonist of this story? Like, she's certainly a roadblock. She's certainly but then you go, I mean, but Elphaba and the way Elphaba is portrayed is sort of an almost unrealistic ideal, not
She's got a
quite,
strong
not
sense of
perfect,
justice.
but like a real, like a, like a real do-gooder, and is basically this story's Dorothy, in that, like, at the end of the day, she's going to make the right decision. She's going to do the right thing. Whereas, Glinda's far more like maybe the most grounded character in this story, even though she seems at times the most ridiculous because of their like giggliness, is ultimately maybe the most realistic character, is maybe the one that's going like, I'm being presented with these, like, come out and let everyone know I'm a sham.
I'm living in a conformist society.
Yeah.
And I'm being painted as the good one that everyone looks up to.
Yeah.
What choices do I actually have?
Yeah. And then weirdly, because when Elphaba, like, ultimately at the end of this film, Elphaba's like, I'm going to unlock the book for you so that I don't know quite the laws of the magic and how all that works, but whatever. But I'm going to open this book for you so that you can now actually have magic. There's sort of this weird thing where, like, Glinda's making the wrong choice because she's choosing in this conformist society to remain the false vision to the Munchkins. Mm-hmm. And Elphaba's sacrifice is twofold. It's A, so that false image can continue. Mm-hmm. And also self-preservation. She's like, I'm out. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm going to fake my death.
Well, she couldn't have stayed.
No, it's totally a witness protection location relocation thing. Yeah, 100%.
Even Glinda didn't know she was alive at the end. No,
it's revealed to her. Like, she knows.
What do you mean it's revealed to her?
I think if you rewatch that last shot, like when from the desert, Elphaba opens that book for her, there's a shot of Glinda and sort of like a look of realization on Glinda's face. I think Glinda's going,
it could be
like, you cheeky, like, again, but like also
or
good
it
for
could
you.
Be, maybe I am magical. Maybe I can learn magic.
I don't know. I hope not, because that just kind of like, I feel like that undoes any of the progression of Glinda's character at the end, any of the redemption of like her.
Why do you think so strongly that Elphaba opened the book for her?
Because she like stops and her and the Scarecrow are like walking through the desert. They've escaped Oz, and then she like stops and turns back to the portal and like closes her eyes or whatever and concentrates, and then the book opens. Like, that seems pretty clear to me.
I didn't gather that, but that's an interesting.
I think it's pretty clear that she's
theory.
like, I'm that Oz needs someone. Who, now that I'm gone, Oz needs someone who can utilize this book.
Sure.
I want it to be you.
Yeah.
And so she's
but I don't
passing
know if
that on.
Glinda realizes that. I kind of like to think that Glinda thinks that Elphaba is dead. And that's why I got so teary-eyed during the For Good, because this is Elphaba and Glinda being torn apart.
Yeah.
Because of fucking powers that be.
Yeah.
And Elphaba doesn't even get to tell her friend that she's not actually dead. Glinda has to go on listening to everybody tell the story of how the Wicked Witch of the West was defeated and she was the worst. and never get to actually know that Elphaba got away. And it's just that's tragic too.
I don't know.
Glinda's reality is.
We'll have to rewatch that shot again together.
Maybe. I think I kind of interpreted it as like, they were kind of singing sort of a duet, but they were not in the same room. Obviously, they were not in the same space.
Yeah.
As just like, two ends of the spectrum of friendship. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, could be.
But that's interesting. I'd like to look into the way the stage play goes too, because
lots of movies do it.
Glinda thinks she's dead.
Right. Lots of movies do it where like someone fakes their own death, or everyone thinks someone's dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then whether it's having traveled to, some other, this seems like a weird example, because it's not even a movie that I am super crazy about. But at the end of Christopher Nolan's Batman films,
right,
which everyone thinks is the greatest Batman films, they're not. It's so overrated, it's not even funny. Christian Bale's a terrible Batman. But like that movie ends with everyone thinking, like, they have a funeral for Bruce.
Yeah.
Right. And there's the stone at the house next to his parents and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, a couple months later, Alfred's on vacation in Italy or Spain or something somewhere, sitting at the cafe that he always sits at, blah, blah, blah. And then he just kind of glances up from his newspaper, and across the cafe
mm-hmm.
is Bruce and Selena. And it's mm-hmm. just kind of, it's a nod, and it's implied that you're not coming over to our table.
Mm-hmm.
We're not coming over to yours. I'm not coming back to Wayne Manor.
Mm-hmm.
We will never see each other again.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to know
mm-hmm. I'm
okay.
Yeah.
And so that's how I interpreted the end of this, is Elphaba saying, now that me and the Scarecrow have escaped Oz,
mm-hmm.
we're not coming back, and you're not coming to where we are.
Yeah.
Now that no harm can come of any of this, and we'll never make contact, we'll never talk, we'll never whatever. But I want you to know I'm going to be okay. And here's the keys to, right? You're the one now. And I'm going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, are you ready to score this?
Sure. Yep.
So, on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate Wicked for Good?
I still think it's a visually beautiful film.
Yep.
It's a fantastic. It sounds fantastic.
It is. It's stunningly visual.
The actors.
Visually stunning.
I love all the actors. I'm still gonna rate it. I'm definitely rating it higher than you are.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it a 6 out of 10.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
On its own.
Yep.
If I was to rate both parts together, I think I'm calling the first one a 10 out of 10. I fucking love the first one.
Yep.
I'm going to give the whole thing, like the first one just pulls so hard that I think as a whole, it's an 8 out of 10. Like I love it.
Interesting.
I will watch it over and over. When it comes out on streaming, I'll be watching it over and over.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. You're supposed to ask me what I...
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your rating on a scale of 0?
So I would give because you said what you gave the first one. Yeah. I would give the first one a 9.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's damn near perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe a 10 out of 10. I would need to watch it again to feel confident going, there's nothing that I don't like.
Yeah.
I think there might be like one song or maybe one or two songs where I'm like, I don't know. But really, really, really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give this one, you're wrong. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be wrong.
No, because ultimately I liked it. I had a lot of fun. It's not as good as the first one. I would venture as far as saying it's nowhere near as good as the first one, but I think the first one is almost an untouchable standard, and I'm very vindicated in the realization that even people who are big fans of Wicked are going,
Act 2 is not good.
Act 2.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome.
Yeah.
That feels really good. But yeah, and ultimately for what it is, like, if I were to create, if there was no musical and no book that this was based off of, if this was an original story, I think I'd give it like a 3.5 out of, right? Like I would be like, you guys effed up the Wizard of Oz here. You screwed up, right? You made a mess. But the fact that this is clearly fan fiction based on a piece of fan fiction, right? Like,
I mean, isn't Wicked the longest running musical on Broadway? I'm pretty sure.
I think it's probably like Cats or something.
Or the It's really.
Or Phantom of the Opera. It was probably Phantom.
But Wicked is a big one.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's been running for so long.
100%.
So this is like, you've got like a legion. This has become, even though the second half is kind of still largely considered a flop, this has become its own, like, entity. Can
you imagine being responsible for singing Defying Gravity on Broadway and also being the voice behind like Let It Go in Frozen? Like, can you imagine?
She's carrying a lot there, isn't she?
That's wild. That's wild.
But yeah, it's a big one. You had a lot of people with a lot of decades of love for this story.
Oh, sure.
And I think what they did to it made it better. I think. And I think they were in
the Wizard of Oz better? Or no,
made Wicked better. I think that I would be surprised to find a true fan of the stage play say that they hated this adaptation. I think
I'm
did
sure
it
there's
justice.
someone, but
I'm sure, but as a whole, I think they certainly the first part we were all obsessed with the first part, and the second part we can all agree, like they added a couple of songs which I think some people will like, the Girl in a Bubble song.
Oh, like they made some some original for the movie.
Yep, the Girl in the Bubble song is new, and There's No Place Like Home is new, so that's gonna make some people mad, I think. Because they'll be like, oh, it's just fluff.
I mean,
you had to make it into a full feature-length film again.
No Place Like Home felt like a cute nod and acknowledgement to the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Like, that felt like a nice
And I think it rounded out Elphaba's motives and story, too, and her kind of saying, like, why do I love this place so much that never loved me?
And didn't No Place Like Home was one of the songs that used the arrangement up. Like, it doesn't feel tacked in. It's got a lot of the same progressions and like it's sort of tied into the songs that have come prior. Like, uses the same melody, I think.
I don't know. Maybe.
Or something. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for listening and or watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, support us on Patreon. There's a link for that below. This is all like this is Patreon money, not possible without you guys. And we have merch. You can buy T-shirts and stickers and water bottles and a copy of Emily's new book. What? Tell us about your new book, Emily.
Well, you really put me on the spot there. That's not real.
What's not real? Your new book?
I don't have a book.
Oh.
Yeah.
If Emily ever writes a new book.
I'll let you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be better.
I don't know when I would have time for that.
Much better than the old book.